Captain Lee Hyun stood at the large window of his spaceship, the *Tagak*, looking out at the stars. Those same stars used to welcome human ships with friendship and trade. Now everything had changed. Alien warships blocked the space routes that humans once traveled freely. The Galactic Council had put a complete stop to all trade with human worlds. The bridge was quiet except for the soft humming of machines. Lieutenant Park Minute-Ho sat at his control station, listening to radio signals from across space. His face was worried as he turned to face the captain. "Sir, we have another emergency call from New Busan Colony," Park said, his voice tight with concern. "They say pirates are attacking them again. Multiple groups, all working together." Hyun felt anger rise in his chest. Just 3 months ago, pirate attacks almost never happened in this part of space. The Council's ships kept everyone safe. Now these attacks happened every single day, and they only targeted human settlements. It was too organized to be random. "The weapons they're using are military grade," Park continued. "But when our people try to buy the same weapons for defense, no one will sell to us. It's like someone is giving these pirates advanced weapons but keeping them away from humans." Dr. Kim Sora walked onto the bridge carrying a tablet full of reports. She was the ship's intelligence officer, and her job was to figure out what their enemies were planning. Her face looked tired and worried. "Captain, I've been studying the attack patterns," she said. "This isn't just random pirates looking for easy money. Someone is telling them exactly where to attack and when. Someone is giving them maps of our colonies and information about our defenses." The main screen in front of them flickered to life. Ambassador Choi Jae-minute appeared, speaking from the Galactic Assembly Building on Nexus Prime, the capital world where all the alien races made decisions together. Choi looked exhausted. His usual calm manner was gone, replaced by stress and frustration. "The Council showed more fake evidence today," Choi said through the crackling transmission. "They're telling everyone that humans have been making biological weapons on 12 different planets. The documents look real, but I know they're lies. Someone spent a lot of time making fake proof to make us look like monsters." "Do we have any friends left?" Hyun asked, though he feared the answer. Choi's shoulders dropped. "The Zarati delegation got up and left the room when I tried to speak. They wouldn't even listen to me. Even worse, the Rillan Commonwealth voted for stronger punishment against us. Captain, the Rillans have been trading with humans for over 50 years. If they won't help us, then we really are alone." Lieutenant Park suddenly turned from his station, his young face pale with fear. "Sir, the long-distance sensors are picking up something big. Council warships are gathering in the Kepler sector. Hundreds of them, all moving toward human space." Dr. Kim quickly brought up a 3-dimensional map of space, showing their location and the enemy ships. Red dots marked the advancing alien fleet. There were so many red dots that they looked like a swarm of angry insects moving toward human worlds. "If they keep moving at this speed, they'll reach our outer colonies in 14 days, Kim said. "Captain, the people living on those worlds won't be able to fight against this many ships. It will be a massacre." Hyun stared at the red markers on the display. Each dot represented hundreds of warships filled with alien soldiers who wanted to destroy every human in the galaxy. The weight of responsibility pressed down on his shoulders like a heavy stone. "Send an urgent message to Admiral Seo on Earth," Hyun ordered. "Tell him it's time to use the Phoenix Protocol." The Phoenix Protocol was humanity's most desperate plan, a way to hide some humans across the galaxy if their main worlds were destroyed. "Also, get me a secure communication line to all human fleet commanders," he continued. The communication system activated, and faces appeared on screens around the bridge. Captain Yo Daeun commanded the *Ararang*, a fast attack ship. Commander Han Suk-jin led the *Mugwa*, a heavy battleship. A dozen other human officers appeared on smaller screens, each one commanding ships scattered across different parts of space. These were the last free human military officers in the galaxy. Their faces showed the same mixture of anger, fear, and determination that Hyun felt in his own heart. "Ladies and gentlemen," Hyun began, his voice steady even though his hands were shaking. "The Galactic Council has made their decision clear. They don't just want to defeat us or control us. They want every human being dead. They want to erase us from the galaxy completely." He paused, looking at each face on the screens. These were good people who had spent years protecting human colonies and keeping the peace. Now they would have to fight for the survival of their entire species. "But they've made one big mistake," Hyun continued. "They think we'll just give up and die quietly. They think humans will panic and run away when cornered. They're about to learn something important about human nature." The other commanders leaned forward, waiting for his words. When you corner a human being, when you threaten everything they love and everyone they care about, you don't get a frightened victim. You get something much more dangerous. You get a human with nothing left to lose. The transmission ended, but Hugh knew his message was clear. The real war was about to begin. Admiral Seo Tae-young stood in the underground war room beneath Seoul Spaceport. The room was filled with floating screens showing maps of space. Each screen told a terrible story. Red lights blinked and disappeared as human colonies across the galaxy fell to enemy attacks or were abandoned by fleeing people. The air in the room felt heavy with sadness and fear. Officers moved quietly between the glowing displays, updating battle reports and casualty numbers. Everyone knew they were watching the slow death of human civilization in space. General Kwon Minute-sik walked up to the admiral. His face looked old and tired, with deep lines around his eyes that had not been there a year ago. The war was aging everyone faster than normal. New Jeju colony is gone, General Kwon said quietly. Commander Lim managed to get most of the families and children onto evacuation ships, but we lost every warship in the Third Fleet. They fought to the very end to give the civilians time to escape. Admiral Seo closed his eyes for a moment. The Third Fleet had been 300 ships with over 50,000 crew members. All gone. He had known many of those officers personally, had shared meals with them, had met their families. Now they were all dead or captured. Dr. No Eun-ji sat at a computer terminal in the corner of the room. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying and from staying awake too many nights in a row. She was one of the smartest people in the human military, an expert at breaking enemy codes and understanding alien technology. Admiral, she called out without looking up from her screen. I've been studying the secret messages we captured during the Vega raid. The way these messages are coded matches exactly with Council military communication systems. This proves that the Council military commanders are giving direct orders for these attacks. Captain Bae Soo-jin had just arrived from a dangerous mission to evacuate the Titan research station. Her uniform was torn and dirty, and she had a bandage on her left arm. She looked exhausted but determined. Can you prove this to other aliens? Captain Bae asked. If we can show evidence that the Council is lying, maybe some of the other species will help us. Dr. No shook her head sadly. Not yet. I need more evidence. But I am finding something very interesting. I've been reading old history files about other alien species that used to exist in our galaxy. The Zenthran Empire was destroyed 200 years ago. The Krolix Federation disappeared 100 years ago. Both were species that were becoming very advanced very quickly. She turned to face the Admiral. The same pattern happened to them that is happening to us now. First, fake evidence appeared claiming they were dangerous. Then other species turned against them. Then mysterious attacks destroyed their colonies. Finally, they were completely wiped out. Admiral Seo walked to the center of the room where a large three-dimensional map showed the solar system. Earth floated in the middle, looking small and fragile. Around it were the defensive positions that humanity had built, space stations, weapon platforms, and small fleets of warships. Compared to what was coming toward them, their defenses looked like toys. How much time do we have before they arrive? The Admiral asked. Commander Oh Jung-woo was in charge of gathering intelligence about enemy movements. He studied the data on his screens before answering. Based on how fast the Council fleets are moving, I estimate 6 weeks before they reach Earth, he said. But Admiral, our spy satellites are seeing something strange. The Council forces are not just trying to conquer human worlds. They are completely destroying every piece of human technology they find. Even old research stations that were abandoned years ago. It's like they want to erase every proof that humans ever existed in space. This news made Admiral Seo feel cold inside. The Council did not just want to defeat humanity. They wanted to make it so that future aliens would never know humans had ever reached the stars. Captain On Mi Young stepped forward. She had just returned from a dangerous spy mission near Proxima Centauri. Her job had been to watch Council fleet movements and report back to Earth. Sir, I have something important to tell you, she said. During our escape from Proxima, something very strange happened. We stopped near some ancient ruins on an old planet. When Lieutenant Park got close to the ruins, they suddenly came alive. Dr. No's head turned quickly toward Captain On. What do you mean they came alive? I mean technologies that had been dead for thousands of years suddenly started working, Captain On explained. Defensive weapon systems activated. Energy shields appeared around the ruins. It was like the ancient buildings recognized Lieutenant Park as a human and decided to protect him. Dr. No stood up from her computer, suddenly very interested. What kind of defensive systems? Automated weapon platforms that fired energy beams more powerful than anything in our current technology, Captain On replied. They completely destroyed an entire council squadron that was chasing us. The enemy ships didn't stand a chance. For the first time in months, Admiral Seo felt a small spark of hope in his chest. Dr. No, I want you to stop everything else you are doing and focus on this. If there are ancient defense systems that respond to humans, we need to find every single one of them. General Quan looked at the tactical displays showing the enormous enemy fleet approaching Earth. Sir, even with ancient technology, we are facing impossible odds. Intelligence reports say the Council is bringing nearly 15,000 warships against our remaining 300 ships. Admiral Seo's jaw tightened with determination. Then we make every shot count perfectly. And we make sure that if humanity must fall, the galaxy will remember forever who truly stood for justice and who chose betrayal and lies. Dr. Nounji's hands shook as she touched the ancient control panel deep inside the Antarctic Research Station. The strange symbols on the panel began to glow with a soft blue light the moment her fingers made contact. It was as if the alien technology somehow knew she was human and was welcoming her. The research facility was buried under miles of ice and snow. For weeks, teams of scientists had been working around the clock to understand what they had found. The discovery had happened by accident when drilling equipment broke through into a hidden chamber that was older than human civilization. Professor Lee, are you getting all of this on camera? Dr. No called out to her colleague who was standing behind a wall of monitoring equipment. Professor Lee Dalho stared at his computer screens with his mouth open in amazement. Numbers and charts flowed across the displays showing energy readings unlike anything they had ever seen before. The energy patterns coming from this technology are completely new to science, Professor Lee said, his voice filled with wonder. Unji, according to these measurements, this technology is at least 50,000 years old. That makes it older than every known alien civilization in the galaxy. On the other side of the research facility, Captain Park Woojin pressed his face against a thick glass window. He was watching something that should have been impossible. In the chamber below, test pilot Lieutenant Han Yujin was sitting inside what looked like an ancient spaceship. The ship had been completely dead when they found it, but the moment Han touched the control surfaces, it had come to life. Lights flickered on throughout the ship's interior. Strange symbols appeared on screens that had been dark for thousands of years. The ship's engines began to hum with power, even though no one understood how they worked. This is incredible, said Dr. Song Mi-kyung, who was monitoring Han's vital signs from her medical station. His brain waves are matching perfectly with the ship's computer systems. It's like this technology was built specifically to work with human minds. The communication system crackled to life with an urgent message from Mars. Admiral Seo's voice filled the room as he received a report from Captain Jang Hai-won, who was leading an archaeological dig team on the Red Planet. Admiral, we have amazing news, Captain Jang's excited voice came through the speakers. We've activated 17 ancient defense platforms across the surface of Mars. Each platform has more firepower than our biggest battleship. And sir, the most incredible part is that they only work when a human is operating them. When aliens try to use the controls, nothing happens. The discoveries were happening all across the solar system. On Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, Commander Nam Ho-suk had found something even more remarkable. His team had been investigating strange metal structures under the ice when they discovered a massive factory complex hidden beneath the frozen surface. Admiral, Commander Nam's voice joined the conversation, this manufacturing facility is beyond our understanding. It's building spaceships using technology that should be impossible. Ships that would normally take us months to build are being completed in just a few days. Dr. No stepped away from the glowing control panel, her mind racing as pieces of an ancient puzzle began to fit together. She activated her communication device to speak to everyone at once. I think I understand what we're finding, she announced. These ruins aren't scattered randomly across different planets. They're all connected as part of one enormous network that spans the entire galaxy. This network was created by an ancient human civilization that existed long before our recorded history began. The research facility fell silent as everyone absorbed this shocking news. Admiral Seo's voice came through the speakers, filled with disbelief. Are you telling us that humanity has been in space before? He asked. Much more than that, Dr. No replied, studying the data flowing across her screens. According to the information I'm extracting from these computers, ancient humans spread across the galaxy thousands of years ago. They built these installations as protection systems. They knew that someday their descendants might face complete extinction and would need powerful tools to survive. From the outer edge of the solar system, Captain Yo Deun's voice joined the conversation with more incredible news. Admiral, the quantum communication network is now working across 4 to 7 different star systems. We can now talk to our people anywhere in the galaxy instantly. The Council won't be able to block our messages or spy on our communications anymore. Lieutenant Colonel Kim Jun-ho, who was in charge of weapons development, had even better news to share. Sir, we figured out how to copy the gravitational technology from these ancient ships. Our new spacecraft can bend space and time around themselves. Enemy weapons just pass right through them without causing any damage. As reports continued to arrive from research teams across human space, Admiral Seo began to understand the full scope of their discovery. Ancient human technology that had been sleeping for thousands of years was waking up to help their descendants in their darkest hour. The tide of the war was about to change completely. Humanity had been facing extinction with only 300 ships against 15,000 Council warships. Now they had access to technology that was more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Seo announced to all the commanders and scientists listening, it appears our ancient ancestors left us quite an inheritance. They knew this day might come, and they prepared for it. Now we must make sure we use their gifts wisely to not just survive, but to protect every free species in the galaxy. The Council had awakened something they never expected. They thought they were destroying a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened the sleeping guardians of an ancient civilization that had once ruled the stars. Commander Shin Yui lay flat on her stomach in the narrow air vent above the Council's most important communication center on Kepler Station. The metal shaft was barely wide enough for her body, and she had been crawling through the ventilation system for over 2 hours. Her black stealth suit was soaked with sweat, but she ignored the discomfort. This mission was humanity's last chance to prove their innocence to the galaxy. Through her earpiece, she could hear her team members whispering their positions throughout the massive alien facility. They had spent months planning this operation, studying the station's layout, learning the guard schedules, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Dragon Team is in position near the main power core, whispered Sergeant Cho Minute-Woo. His team was responsible for disabling the station's defensive systems so that UI's group could complete their mission without being detected. Phoenix Team is ready in the server room, confirmed Lieutenant Kang So-young. Her job was to access the main computer systems and download all the secret files that would prove the Council's guilt. UI looked at her watch. They had practiced this operation dozens of times, and every second was planned perfectly. If they were even a few minutes late, the night shift guards would discover them. If they were too early, the day shift guards would still be at their posts. Execute the mission in 3 seconds, she whispered. 2 seconds. 1 second. Go. The attack began instantly. UI kicked open the ventilation grate and dropped silently into the communication control room below. Her ancient human stealth technology made her completely invisible to the alien sensors that should have detected her presence immediately. Around the station, her team moved like ghosts. Dragon Team disabled the security system so smoothly that the alien operators never realized anything was wrong. Phoenix Team accessed the computer networks without triggering any alarms. The Council guards continued their normal patrols, completely unaware that enemy soldiers were moving through their most secure facility. Within minutes, UI's team had taken control of the entire communication hub. The alien technicians were so surprised that they surrendered without putting up any fight. They had never imagined that humans could penetrate their supposedly impenetrable defenses. Dr. Lim Jae-hyun immediately sat down at the main computer terminal. His fingers moved across the alien keyboard with incredible speed as he broke through the Council's most secret encryption codes. Data flowed across the screen faster than most people could read, but Dr. Lim's enhanced human brain could process the information instantly. Commander UI, you need to see this, Dr. Lim said, his voice filled with excitement and horror. They documented everything. Every lie they told, every piece of fake evidence they created, every payment they made to pirate groups to attack human colonies. They kept records of all their crimes. Intelligence Officer Won Ha-jin was working at another terminal, downloading files from a different part of the Council's database. His face grew pale as he read the secret messages between Council leaders. There's much more than we expected, one said, his voice shaking. The Council has done this same thing 17 times before. Every time a new species became advanced enough to threaten their power, they destroyed them using the exact same methods they're using against us. UI looked at the evidence flowing across the screens. There were financial records showing payments to criminal organizations. There were fake laboratory reports claiming humans had developed biological weapons. There were detailed plans for propaganda campaigns to turn other alien species against humanity. Most shocking of all, there were casual discussions between council members about which human worlds would be easiest to destroy first. They planned our genocide like it was a business meeting, UI said with disgust. Dr. Lim pulled up another set of files that made everyone in the room gasp. Look at this. The Zenthran Empire, the Krolix Federation, the Altari Collective, all species that were destroyed in the past few centuries. The Council has records proving they orchestrated the destruction of every single one of them. One pointed to his screen where communications between Council military commanders were displayed. They didn't just manipulate politics. They directly commanded the attacks. Council generals were giving orders to pirate fleets. Council scientists were creating fake evidence in their own laboratories. This wasn't just political manipulation, it was systematic murder of entire civilizations. UI activated her quantum communicator, the same ancient human technology that now allowed instant communication across the entire galaxy. The evidence was too important to risk losing if they were discovered. Admiral Seo, this is Commander UI. Mission successful. Transmitting all evidence now, she said. Within seconds, the massive files were being sent directly to Earth through the quantum network that the Council couldn't intercept or block. At the same time, the evidence was automatically forwarded to every human ship and colony in the galaxy. But UI made another decision that would change the course of galactic history. Instead of just sending the evidence to human forces, she programmed the quantum network to broadcast the proof of Council crimes to every alien government, every news organization, and every military commander in the known galaxy. The reaction was immediate and explosive. On thousands of worlds, alien leaders who had supported the war against humanity suddenly found themselves reading undeniable proof that they had been manipulated into committing genocide. Species that had lost friends and family members in attacks they thought were human aggression discovered that the Council had ordered those attacks themselves. On Nexus Prime, the galactic capital, the Zerati ambassador stood up in the middle of a council session, his voice shaking with rage. These communications show that you paid criminals to attack our colonies, then convinced us it was human retaliation. You made us accomplices in our own destruction. The Rillan Commonwealth delegate was reading financial records on her tablet, her tentacles trembling with emotion. You used our own military contractors against us. You turned our weapons and our soldiers into tools for your genocidal plan. Across the galaxy, the Council's web of lies was unraveling faster than they could control. The evidence was so overwhelming and so detailed that no one could deny its authenticity. UI smiled as she watched chaos erupting in alien governments throughout the galaxy. The truth was finally free, and the Council would pay for their crimes. Admiral Seo Taiyong stood on the command bridge of the New Sol humanity's most powerful warship. Through the enormous viewing window, he watched the largest enemy fleet in galactic history emerge from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. The Council's armada was so massive that it looked like a moving city of metal and light stretching across the darkness of space. 12,000 alien warships had come to destroy humanity once and for all. Each ship carried hundreds of weapons and thousands of alien soldiers. The combined military power of the galaxy's oldest and most advanced civilizations was now focused on wiping humans from existence. Contact Admiral Park on the Busan Seo ordered his communications officer. Send signals to all fleet commanders. Tell them it's time to show the galaxy what we've learned. The Council fleet moved forward confidently, expecting to find frightened humans hiding behind Earth's weak defenses. The alien commanders had studied human military capabilities for months and believed this would be an easy victory. They thought humanity's 300 remaining ships would be destroyed within hours. Instead, they encountered something that should have been impossible. Jupiter, the giant planet that had always been just a ball of gas, had been completely transformed. Massive construction platforms surrounded it like metal rings. Shipyards the size of small moons were building new human vessels using ancient technology. The planet's moons had been converted into weapon platforms that could destroy entire fleets with single shots. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter was no longer just floating rocks. Every asteroid had been equipped with gravitational weapons that could bend space and time itself. The seemingly empty space around Earth had become the most heavily defended region in the galaxy. Captain Lee Minute-ho commanded the experimental ship Docto*, one of the new vessels built using ancient human technology. As Council plasma weapons fired at his ship, the energy beam simply curved around his vessel without causing any damage. All ships, activate the ancient defensive systems, Lee announced over the communication network. We are no longer just human soldiers. We are the weapons our ancestors built for this exact moment. The battle began with the Council fleet firing thousands of weapons at once. The alien commanders expected to see human ships exploding and burning. Instead, they watched in horror as their most powerful weapons had no effect at all. Commander Yoon Soo-bin piloted a ship equipped with temporal displacement technology that allowed her to exist in multiple locations at the same time. Her vessel appeared to split into dozens of copies, each one attacking different enemy ships simultaneously. Council gunners couldn't target her because she wasn't truly in any single place. Admiral, the Council ships can't adapt to our technology, Yoon reported as she destroyed an entire enemy squadron. Their weapons and tactics haven't changed in thousands of years. They don't know how to fight against what we've become. Dr. No Eun-ji coordinated the ancient defense network from her command center deep beneath Earth's surface. Screens around her showed the awakening of installations across 47 different star systems. Technology that had been sleeping for 50,000 years was coming online to protect humanity's descendants. Admiral, the defensive systems across the galaxy are activating, Dr. No announced. The Council's homeworlds are reporting massive failures in their orbital defenses. Our ancestors' Guardian systems are targeting every Council military installation they can find. Through the quantum communication network, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. On Altaria Prime, the Council's most important military base, ancient human defense platforms were systematically destroying every enemy ship and weapon they encountered. The alien defenders were powerless to stop the automated systems that had been hidden beneath their planet's surface for millennia. The Zephyrian Empire's entire home fleet had been completely destroyed by Guardian installations that materialized out of empty space. Ships that the aliens had never seen before appeared around their worlds and eliminated their military forces within minutes. Supreme Councilor Vextari stood on the bridge of the Council's command ship, watching his supposedly invincible armada being torn apart by human technology he couldn't understand. His species had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, and now they were being defeated by the descendants of primitives they had tried to exterminate. How is this possible? He demanded from his tactical officers. Our intelligence report said humanity had primitive technology. How do they have weapons that can destroy our most advanced ships so easily? His tactical officer's voice shook with fear as he delivered the terrible news. Sir, we're receiving reports from across Council space. Ancient installations that we never knew existed are attacking our home systems. Our planetary defense grids are being destroyed by weapons that appear and disappear without warning. Our entire civilization is under simultaneous attack. The Council had made a terrible mistake. They thought they were destroying a weak species that had barely learned to travel between stars. Instead, they had awakened the sleeping guardians of an ancient human civilization that had once ruled the galaxy. The technology they faced was not primitive, it was so advanced that their own weapons seemed like toys in comparison. As the battle continued, it became clear that this was not a war between equals. This was the systematic destruction of an empire that had grown weak and corrupt through thousands of years of unchallenged power. The Council had betrayed and destroyed 17 species before humanity, believing their dominance would last forever. Now they were learning the price of their betrayal. The galaxy's true inheritors had returned, and they would not be denied their birthright.